Sarah had always been the picture of a devoted wife. Her husband, Jack, was a hard-working man, a loyal partner, and a loving father. They had been together for over a decade, building a life based on mutual trust and respect. But something had changed, something that Jack hadn't noticed right away. Sarah had grown distant, more preoccupied with her own desires and distractions. The warmth in their marriage seemed to vanish overnight. It all started with little things. Sarah started coming home late, always with a vague excuse. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages, but she would always hurriedly swipe it away when Jack was around. It wasn't until Jack found a cryptic message on her phone that his heart sank. "Can't wait to see you tonight. I miss you." At first, he thought he had misunderstood. But after weeks of digging, Jack discovered that Sarah was having an affair. The man, Ben, was a colleague from her office, someone who had slipped into her life unnoticed, filling the void Jack hadn't even realized was there. Betrayal burned inside him, but Jack wasn't the type to confront her immediately. He needed to think, to plan, to make sure his revenge was just as calculated as her infidelity. Jack spent the next few weeks quietly observing. He watched Sarah leave for her meetings with Ben, noticing the spark in her eyes that she used to have for him. The feeling of being replaced was unbearable, but Jack knew he had to bide his time. He wasn't going to make the same mistake of confronting her out of emotion. He wanted to make sure Sarah understood the full weight of what she'd done. Meanwhile, Sarah, oblivious to Jack's growing awareness, continued her affair with Ben. She was too deep in the thrill of her secret life to think of the consequences. But Jack's patience was about to pay off. One evening, Jack told Sarah he had to work late. He knew she would use the opportunity to meet Ben. He followed her discreetly, keeping a safe distance. His heart raced as he watched her kiss Ben outside a restaurant, the kiss that had been reserved for him just a few months ago. It was a public display of affection, one that Jack would never have imagined happening behind his back. That night, Jack returned home before Sarah did. He didn't confront her immediately. Instead, he set the stage. He arranged a dinner for the two of them, just like they used to do before everything changed. When Sarah arrived, she seemed confused by the candles and the quiet atmosphere, but Jack played it cool. They ate dinner in silence, the tension thick between them. Sarah tried to start a conversation, but Jack remained distant. Finally, as they finished their meal, he placed the phone on the table in front of her. A picture of her and Ben laughing and kissing filled the screen. She froze, her face draining of color. "I didn't want to know, Sarah. I didn't want to see this. But you forced my hand." Tears welled up in her eyes as she stammered an apology. "Jack, I'm so sorry. I never meant for you to find out like this. It's just that I've been unhappy for so long, and Ben, he made me feel special again." Jack didn't let her finish. His heart, though shattered, had already made its decision. He stood up and walked toward the door. "I've been here for you. I gave you everything, Sarah, and you threw it away. You'll never truly understand how much this hurts." Sarah reached out, pleading for him to stay, but Jack was resolute. He had already prepared everything. Their marriage, built on love and trust, would be over. Not with anger, but with a quiet certainty that she would feel the loss in her bones. The next day, Jack filed for divorce. But he didn't stop there. He made sure that Sarah lost everything, her affair with Ben exposed to their friends and family, her reputation tarnished, and her financial stability shaken. Sarah tried to rebuild her life, but the betrayal she had inflicted on Jack had left an indelible mark. She had won the excitement of a secret romance, but she had lost the man who truly loved her. In the end, Jack moved on, finding peace and a new beginning, while Sarah was left to contemplate the consequences of her choices. It wasn't just the affair that had ruined her. It was the lies, the selfishness, and the betrayal that had cost her everything. Jack's revenge wasn't in anger or violence. It was in the quiet, deliberate way he reclaimed his life, forcing Sarah to face the full cost of her deceit. The price of deception, Jack had learned, was never just a broken heart. It was the destruction of everything built on trust. And that was a lesson Sarah would never forget.